As a confidant and coach to business leaders, I know a lot of people who are rich and miserable, and those on the opposite side of the spectrum. So let's pull it all together, shall we? We'll explore the intersection between wealth and joy. We'll look at the psychology, spirituality, and practicality of money, plus some of the things that make up a truly lucrative lifestyle. I'm your host, Mindy Kinnis, and this is the Lucra Life. Welcome, my friends. I am delighted to introduce you today to somebody very special. He is not only a friend, he is a student, he is a member of my program, and I cannot wait to talk to him and for you to listen to everything that he has experienced because, it is awesome. Doug McDade is an award-winning actor, director, filmmaker, performance coach, and ensemble member of the Shattered Globe Theater in Chicago. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. It is really awesome to be here.
I am so excited to have you here because, I'd be excited anyway, but most especially today, now, this year, because I have watched you simply explode with all these things that you're doing, and not just doing the things, but succeeding at doing the things. So here's what I want to do for our listener. I want to go back a little bit and start with maybe a few years ago, because initially you and I met, I believe, at our 10K speeches event.
Mm-hmm.
And then you came with your beautiful wife to Heart Path.
She wasn't my wife. Oh, yes. No, she wasn't my wife.
Well, not then. I know, because you almost got married at Heart Path.
Right.
And then have gone on from there. So I kind of want to start the story like in between 10K and Heart Path. Can you talk a little bit about where you were at then?
Well, I remember that I kind of have to start before 10K. Because my daughter was going through some challenges. And of course, I came across Sean's video when he had no voice. And I realized that I needed a change. I needed to change direction. And I guess change is the wrong word. I wanted to open up my direction. In a way, when you open up, you suddenly have a multitude of paths in front of you. And you are overcome with choices. And at that point, making the decision to open up is what made a difference for me. But I was so lost because there were so many choices and I didn't have the strategy or the knowledge to really find out which one. And so that led me to 10K. The last day was a very wonderful day because I had decided I was so in love with this woman. I was going to ask her to marry me if somehow I got up on stage to, do our testimonial. It didn't happen. I kept waiting for the moment. I'm still learning, but I'm just ready to seize the opportunity to make this exclamation. And it never happened. And we were at a point where we were consciously aware that we would end up together and dropped hints back and forth about that. So we knew we were both riding the same rail. But it didn't happen. And I thought, what is wrong? I think I'm in sync, but I guess I'm not. That's why I'm here. We wanted to go on with the, I forget what the name of it is right now, but the coaches program or the speakers program. Mm-hmm. But in saving up for our future, but at that point, individually, hopefully melding the two, it was a challenge. And, Peter Belagus was there and he's such an amazing guy. And I went up to him and I said, I truly don't know what to do. How do I move on from here? And he said, Mindy's over there. Go talk to her about Heart Path.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. You're like 15 feet away. So I turn around and Mandy and I went over to talk to Mindy and, yes, we were there because Sean drew me there, but you secured the deal and you have done that time and time again since I've known you. And I am so grateful to you for that because we went over there and you were so gracious. I explained our situation and you invited us to Heart Path. Now, remember, in the back of my mind, I'm still looking for an opportunity. The weekend isn't over yet. We're still in Phoenix or Tempe. And you said, so how long have you guys been married? And we went, well, we've only known each other for 9 weeks. You said, oh, you guys should get married in Sedona. And I went, there it was. There's my opening. I didn't do it in front of you, though. We waited till we got back to the motel and I proposed to her and boom. But yes, so we decided to take that journey together. And when we went to Heart Path, it was all of a sudden those paths began to minimize. And it came to one very broad path that I was chasing. I guess I'm going to jump ahead here a little bit. At that point of chasing, I realized I have to stop chasing. I just have to settle. I have to be still and I have to listen. So I managed to do that. And I very specifically remember not exactly how you led us through it, but I remember this vision during Heart Path of where my compression was. And I felt a compression and I felt myself push through it like a plant growing. And I went, yeah, this is it. The challenge was there was so much fruit on that plant when it started coming. It increased my paths. But that was when I went, okay, I'm in the right place, you know?
After Heart Path, you were in my membership, the Lucrative Collective, and I knew that there was so much more potential for you. I knew. I mean, you and I had a very similar conversation again and again and again. And I constantly, this is what you posted in our group the other day. You said, thank you, Mindy, for staying on my case. And I'm like, no, I was on your ass
Yes.
about handling some of the things that were holding you back, like kicking out those limitations. And then just recently, you took Lucrative Coach. And to me, being able to watch you through that process was so awesome because it took, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but it felt like you took the seeds and the stuff that you had planted at Heart Path, and then the harvest was after Lucrative Coach. Can you talk about, like, one, I want to know what actually made you, like, other than me being on your ass, like what made you go for it?
And I have to say, there was one of the things that so many people talk to me about, you better be ready because Mindy is going to be on your ass, and I'm thinking, okay, that's like Mandy, my beautiful bride, saying to me, I have 4 adult children and 8 grandchildren. Can you handle that? Oh, yeah. Okay, give it to me. And you did. And so I have to say, quite honestly, that my involvement, my commitment to the Lucrative Collective and then Lucrative Coach, it all kind of blends together. But the wonderful word that you used was seeds. I kept focus on that compression that I had at Heart Path and pushing the plant up through, or not pushing the plant, I'm sorry, allowing the plant come through. And as it came through, I thought, okay, there are more seeds here to plant so that I can harvest. And somewhere right before Lucrative Coach, one of our dear friends, Louis Denbaum, said to me something along the lines of, oh, there are so many paths. Which one do I choose? And I went, all of a sudden, a flower bloomed. Pop. I'm already there. I just have to accept it.
Yes.
And I tried to convey that to Louis, but he just wasn't in a place. But it wasn't for Louis, it was for me. And I thought, okay, and you used that wonderful word invite this morning. I invited it in. I said, okay, let's go. And that's really the difference. And that literally took place around October, November of 2020. And at that point, I'd been with my talent agent, my gifted, wonderful, dear friend, talent agent for over 25 years. And, it became easy. and you still live with the fear, okay, I've got to book something because I got to keep my agent happy. But I thought, I need a change. I started this whole process, which when you talked about why did you start in the first place, I went, why did I start in the first place? Because I need a change. Okay, let's make some changes. I broke off with that eight, which is a terribly frightening thing to do. I broke off with my agent of 25 years. What a history, right? I just did it. I thought, oh God, I'm here in the first place because I want to make a change. So I changed agents. I found an agent immediately who adores what I do, great communication. And then I thought, I have been in a position where I have been compressed in my teaching. I need to initiate that change. I need to teach what I have in my heart. It wants to free itself from this compression. And that's when I realized when you talked about the compressed heart in the collective and in Lucrative Coach and expanding that heart, that's why, your exercises in coherence are so important, because when you let that heart swell, it opens up the doors. And that's when I went, and I paused here for a second because I went, oh my gosh, I just realized there was no voice of fear mongering whatsoever. I went, I have to start my own school. Boom.
Yes.
And I decided that, I believe, on March 17th of this year. And what Lucrative Coach has done for me and what the Lucra Collective has done for me has allowed me to expand without question. And I went, oh, that's my heart. The heart has no questions. That was proven over and over again. And when you become in sync with the world around you, you begin to get on that flow. And that's so nice because there's no dissonance there. And when I realized that, all of a sudden, my class at my previous institution where I taught stopped. Half of that class joined me for private coaching. That has never happened. So at that point, I had 10 private coaching clients. One of my former students reached out to me, how are you doing? I love what you do. I am sending one of my best friends to you over there at that other place. I mean, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Because I'm starting my own school. And she went, oh, really? Well, let me help you. And she was a website developer and a positive thinker. And she designed the website. And then she said, so what are you going to call your studio? Then I went, and I've been teaching her since she's 12 and she's in her mid 20s now. And she said, well, you should call it the Doug McDade Studio of Performing Hearts.
I love that.
And she got that from, I said, I want to teach the art from your heart. That's been my logo, so to speak, or my mantra since taking Heart Path, because there's so much there. Our heart is so big. We don't have any idea how big it is. And I just say to people, just think about all the love you have. I mean, my desk is neat, but it's full of things that I love.
As he sips from the Lucrative Coach mug.
So, and so think about everything that's here is here because it has a place, it has a purpose to inspire me, And so I went.
Can I pause you for just a second
Sure.
on that note? I love what you just said because that is the same for you. Like, you have a place, you have a purpose. It is to inspire others. So just as you're activating all of these inspirations on your desk, you are that. You're living that out, which is so cool.
Yeah. And feeling that is amazing. And it's so uplifting, And so I went, Studio of the Performing Hearts, what you just said, she said that. And lo and behold, I gulped, fearmonger ran away quickly, and I went, poof. And it's connected with everybody so well that I discovered that people really want their heart to be felt, and they don't know how to do it. And I can help them.
You had such great results seemingly right out of the gate. And even through the various conversations that you and I had about whether it was procrastination or what do I offer these people or what should I put on the flyer? Like, all the little detail stuff about business, you had extraordinary results. And I'd love to talk in detail about what happened.
Sure. Well, let's back up. Let's go back to that little aha moment when I heard one of our dear friends say, I got so many paths to choose. And I realized at that moment, wait a minute, I know my path. What am I good at? I'm teaching actors how to be grounded. So, I mean, on camera, we can't be like this,
All over the place.
yeah, and actors are like that. And to have them focus that energy. And that's when I learned, catch yourself. I learned, thank you.
Okay, can you explain that for the listener?
Yeah, because I was like, I was still, and this was back in, late December. I would still speak to a negative voice or a negative thought. And Mindy said, you said so lovingly, on my ass, lovingly, catch yourself just once about your anti-self-image. And I think that, wait a minute, that wasn't that a part of Lucrative Coach?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, self-image.
Yeah, I'm sorry, because they do kind of blend together. And speaking to that, I think that's one of the greatest decisions I made, because it was a nice gradual process. And through that, you were on my ass saying, I can't wait to get you into, what we call Lucrative Coach now.
I know. I was like, you got to come to my higher level program so I can be even more on your ass.
Yeah, right. Right. And so I gave Mindy permission to be on my ass.
You did.
So anyway, so when I had that realization, because I was looking for, I have a message. It's some kind of message. It's not the pain that Mindy has, and it's not the experience that somebody else has. And I don't have any terrible, terrible tragedies that I think, I guess I do, but the door didn't open. The doors didn't open because they weren't supposed to open. The door was supposed to open was to accept who I am, what I have to offer, and invite everybody else to be a part of it.
I'm like celebrating over here on camera. I'm like, yes, exactly. Like, I heard you say that so many times. Like, I just need to find my story. I just need to figure it out. And I'm like, Doug, you have it. Like you are it. You are living it. You just need to expand it out and just like make it amazing.
Yes. So making that decision, the thing that was challenging, I'm starting to catch myself very successfully, surprisingly enough, very quickly. I hear I have to do something. And then, oh my gosh, it's 5 minutes to the minute that I have to do something. I better do it now. And I would just gush stuff. And I go, wow, I'm ready. That's gush stuff. And that gush stuff is good stuff that I just gushed out. But I didn't gush it out. It came out because I opened the doors and let it out. And I remember speaking to you at one point because why do I do this to myself? I am pressured at the last minute. I'm like procrastinating. What is that all about? And we go back to that little catch yourself just once. And I went, okay, just ask Mindy. You said that's the way you're wired, Doug. Love it.
Use it. It's a superpower.
And now I realize that's when I'm at my best, is when I no longer look at it as pressure, but when I have fully grounded myself and accepted all of the information on all those seeds that have been planted and grown that I planted because of what I was given, and allowed them freedom. When they're ready to, getting back to that compression picture that I had at HeartPath, when they're ready to blossom, they will blossom. That material came out, and I was at a place where we talked about the strategy of how we do the daily messaging, and then on the day of, hit them 3 times a day with that. And I didn't even get that far. I ended
because you like sold it out.
I sold it out like the day before. And I went, wait a minute, what do I do now? My deadline isn't over yet. And that was my very first class. I sold it out the day before it opened. And I ended up with 10 students from the previous institution, and word of mouth spread. My next class that I'm presently in now sold out a day before the deadline.
So awesome.
And it's because the people before were so filled.
Mm.
And 6 is, some people say, well, that's not enough, but 6 is perfect because I know I can touch people completely in that time. And I have proof because my third class, everybody that was in that class, my first class, has signed up for my second level, with the exception of one, has signed up for that second level. And I've already moved into adding another term of that second level because I have 2 people there now wanting this information. So I have to step back, and you have this, oh, don't be egotistical, don't be proud, blah, 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 blah. But no, it's not about that. I'm catching myself. It's about, what do I have at my disposal? What has come of my investment? What's my return on my investment? And my investment is to those people who come to me completely, and I get twice the return, not for my own good, but to build what I'm trying to do. And I have to stay focused on that.
Well, let's be clear. It is both. It is mutually beneficial because you get so much good from that.
Yeah.
Both everything from, emotion to pride to financial income, all the things, and that's great. Let's not take anything away from that. But I also want to point out, you invested in you.
Yes.
In the beginning.
Yes.
And in a variety of ways, through Lucrative programs, also in other ways. And that then developed into this, what you are doing now, where you can pour so much into your students because you allowed to be poured into yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting when you do that, you start to see the places in your past that you ignored.
Oh, yes.
And one of the things that, because in 2001, we moved from Chicago to Gurnee, Illinois, and I was doing 4 shows a year at the time with Shattered Globe and a couple of other theaters. And I went, this is nuts. I'm driving down. I am fortunate enough to be in a very critically acclaimed theater company doing really good theater. And I'm investing all of that time driving down to the city from Gurnee, 2 hours each way, depending on traffic, And I thought, I'm living in Gurnee now. Gurnee has no culture. And I thought, Gurnee needs a theater. We need a theater up there. And I started in 2001 with the help of another individual, the Gurnee Theater Company. And I thought, I am going to get the town behind me. And I went to a town meeting, and I proposed this idea, and I wanted to use the Gurnee's logo was a lamp. And I love that lamp lighting up, a street lamp lighting up. And I wanted to use it in the logo for the Gurnee Theater Company. And one of the board members, I said, well, they said, why do you, and I think the mayor said it to me, why do you want to start a theater company in Gurnee? And I said, well, Gurnee doesn't have any real culture. Which was a bad choice of words, because one of the board trustees stood up and said, we have a library.
I mean, what did they think, like Six Flags Great America was culture or what?
Yeah, and we have a ton of sports facilities here, but we have no opportunity for artistic growth. I guess Gurnee just isn't managed that way, but I managed Gurnee Theater Company managed to stay around for 6 years, and we had some wonderful work done. But during that term, somebody reached out to me from an organization called North Point Resources. I have to name them because they came to me and said, and they wanted to do something with their community because their community was there from 7 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then their lives were over when they went back to their homes where they were staying, group homes and places like that. And I went, yeah, let's start a theater company for the developmentally disabled. Boy, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to rock, And that little flower that popped up at that moment when I did that, after the first hour of working with about 20 students, and I went through and I handpicked everybody, which I went, wow, this is what I'm good at. And I saw a young man sitting over there in the corner working on a machine, because this place, they gave them, simple menial tasks to do, like wrapping medical supplies and things like that. But they felt a part of the community. They felt value until they went home at the end of the day. But I saw this little guy over there. His name was Nate. And he looked up and we connected, because my eyes were open despite what I felt about myself at the time. And I went, I would like him. And they went, no. He's incommunicable and it's not good. And listen to me, shame on me. That young man, he was 18 years old, given the opportunity to express himself, blossomed. And the whole class blossomed. And it was like, I didn't rock anybody's world. They rocked mine. And I totally had forgotten that experience. I won Volunteer of the Year award for that after 3 years of service with that community. And what was my takeaway? What they did for me. And so when you say investing in yourself by the Lucrative Collective, by Heart Path, by Lucrative Coach, I don't have words for the rewards that you receive if you're open to them and commit to making something of them.
So here's something so interesting. It's always easier to see things in other people than in ourselves. This is true for all of us. And when you just caught yourself about how you were referring to Nate, like you started with I, and then you're like, no, like it was him. How often does that come up? You just posted recently in the Lucrative Collective. You were like, you changed my life. And I was like, I didn't do that. You did that. I maybe had some influence or impact, whatever, but no, I did not do any of the work. That was all you. So I want to wrap up with a simple question, because as you know, Lucrative Coach is open right now for my last class of 2021. I'm super excited to invite new students in. And I wonder if there was somebody that's listening that's maybe considering it, and they were to say, well, Doug, why should I join Lucrative Coach? There's a billion other coach training programs out there. What might you say to them?
The innovative and heartfelt structure that you provide immediately built the confidence in me, or allowed my confidence to grow. One of the things that I realized is we have to create opportunities for ourselves. We have to invest in ourselves. It's become a cliche to me, because there's so many times when I was told to take that step and I didn't. And then I look back at the steps that I did take when I did decide to take them. What changed? And I think the biggest thing was when I said, this is happening for me right now, this opportunity, take it and find some way to remove the obstacles and take the next step. That's the next phase of taking that step. And if you look at all the steps that you've taken from the time you decided to get up off of your knees, hands and knees, and walk, you take steps. And that's the only way to growth. And that was the difference for me. And I had tried to take it last year, but I didn't take the step.
Wasn't the right time.
It wasn't the right time. And that's another great point. I through all of this, I was looking at regrets, and I've decided to erase that word from my vocabulary, because for me, catch yourself, it's an anti-self-image word. There are no regrets. It's just not the right time.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
And so I would encourage you who's listening, you're listening because your heart wants to go someplace. And if you just open up that door to your heart just a little bit and realize all you have to do is step out. Lucrative Coach is amazing. Within minutes of the first course, my heart opened up and stuff flooded in. And I was concerned, you may have detected that before January of this year, on how do I do, what's the right step. But if you absorb and take all the seeds and plant them gently and do the required work, the harvest is amazing. And I have to remind myself of that because I want to catch myself. I blossomed and I feel awesome. And I think one of the fun things, because I was kind of reviewing, what am I going to talk about? Oh my gosh, let me see. So I went back and reviewed some of my notes. And the funniest thing to me was the wonderful assignments that you have us do that we have to respond to. And some of my answers, I realized, oh my gosh, I really take seriously what I'm going to do within 3 years of exiting this program. I'm vibrating right now. I'm electric because I feel like, oh my gosh, that's going to happen.
Yes. You can see, I mean, the listener can't see me, but I legit have tears in my eyes right now because I'm like, yes, it will. It is happening.
And then when we had the opportunity to do the volunteer coach, and we work with our fellow students at the same time. My first one was Vana, and I was so exploding. I did a video on the collective about, oh my, I literally we just finished, and I went, oh my gosh, I don't know what I did for her, but I got to tell you what this did for me. And it would have never happened without Luca Coach. And that video, I looked at that and I went, oh yeah. I'm vibrating again. And so you can't miss this experience. It is so exhilarating. It is so recharging or re-energizing yourself. And it's literally from, only you'll get this, Mindy, unless you have somebody from Chicago. It's literally going from Illinois Avenue to the top of this Hancock, and that elevator gets you up there so fast. Mm-hmm. I'm no longer on the second story or the third story. I'm at the top of the Hancock or the Sears Tower. It's amazing.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
That's what I feel, and I have much to live up to, and it's all what I've planted. So
great. And shout out to Vana, another collective member and also alumni from Lucrative Coach. Doug, this has been so awesome. Like I said, I'm like getting teary over here, just excited for you, excited on your behalf, proud of you, all of the things. If people are interested in learning more about your work and what you are up to, where would you like to send them?
DougMcDadeStudio.com.
Perfect. I will link to that in the show notes. So if anybody needs the spelling or anything, it will be on lucra.com. You can find it there. Check out DougMcDadeStudio.com. Doug, I want to thank you so much, one, for your time today, but even way, way, way more importantly, for trusting me and for doing the work and allowing the things that I could see in you. And this is why I was on your ass the whole time. But you engaged with the work. You did it. You took to heart the things that I was sharing with you or showing you or whatever it may have been. And I could not be prouder of you and your experience. And it is just an absolute delight for me to get to watch not only your professional life blossom, but your marriage with Mandy. I mean, just your life as a whole. And that is so awesome. So huge, huge gratitude to you.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought Mandy up again, because that was part of that. When I made that decision in late 2017, that's when things, and I think that's what's important that you realize going through Luca Coach. When I look back, I opened the door and let the goodness and the gratitude and the appreciation and the compassion come in. And then it's going back out. And Mandy was a part of that. My heart was ready and hers was ready, obviously, but that's what we realized going through Luca Coach, that helps create the foundation that we need to go forward. and build upon build upon build. Yeah, what an amazing experience. And I'm excited because it's not stopping, you know?
We ain't done yet.
We ain't done yet. And I'm looking forward to the next opportunity and being Lucrative coach in Lucrative Collective as well. Yeah. It's nice to have it, just have the inflow and the outflow all be in sync. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Ready to make your dream your reality? Let's build your business so you can do what you are here to do. I invite you to join my inner circle, the Lucrative Collective, a community of like-minded entrepreneurs who got over the limiting belief that they needed to go it alone. Visit lucra.com to join today. That's lucra.com. Lucra, where wealth equals well-being.